So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Konan. So let's start the series. After his fight with Pain, Naruto was now standing still inside a tree where he had his conversation with him. Please fulfill our wish, Naruto Dangerous Clan. Those were Pain's last words. Hearing the quote made him smile, knowing that he made a promise and will always stand up to it. He then snapped out of it and turned his attention to Konan. So, what are you going to do now? He asked her. Well, I'm leaving the dangerous clan and going to see if I can't find somewhere to stay, she answered him. Find somewhere to stay? I thought you already had a place to stay at. He asked. No, that was only if I was in the dangerous clan group. They provided us with rooms. But since I'm leaving them, I'll just have to find some place to stay. Naruto by now felt kind of bad for Konan. That was until he had an idea. How about you stay with me? He asked. Konan, with a slight blush appearing across her face, thought she misunderstood what he suggested. What? She asked. Yeah, you can stay with me, he said as he placed his hands on the back of his head with a big smile. I don't know. I mean, since I helped destroy the village, I'm pretty much a criminal now. Bruno knew that she was, but he wouldn't let it stop him. Don't worry, I'll convince Granny to let you off the hook since it was most of Pain's doing, he said. Konan by now knew that he was not going to accept no for an answer. Thank you, Naruto, she said, as she gave him a smile. Naruto along with Konan made their way out of the fake tree. As when Konan stepped out, it vanished. Let's go, Naruto said as he jumped from tree to tree heading back to the village. Konan smiled again and started to follow him. Location: Hidden Leaf Village. Destroy. Lady Fifth Headmaster. The granny turned around to see her young apprentice calling her name. What is it, Sakura? She asked. Naruto. He did it, she said. Fifth Headmaster's eyes widened with full of shock. He defeated Pain Lady Fifth Headmaster. Sakura repeated herself. Fifth Headmaster's eyes started to form tears. Naruto. You saved us all, she said. It's him. Sakura and Fifth Headmaster turned around. Right before their eyes, everyone in the village was looking at the savior of the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto looked around, realizing that almost the entire citizens of the village was standing right before his eyes. It was really quiet too, not to mention. But it didn't last very long. Yay! Naruto. The whole village chanted. Naruto gave a small unrelieved grin, seeing how everyone was okay. We knew you could do it, Naruto. By now, Naruto had tears of happiness slide down his cheek. All of Naruto's closest friends came rushing towards him and surrounded him. We knew you could do it, Naruto. Kiba yelled. I believed in you. Choji yelled. Whoever knew that you would turn out to be like this? Ino mentioned. Next thing that caught Murata's attention was that he saw Sakura walking towards him. The rest of the group stood aside a bit, watching Sakura approaching him. Everyone started to go quiet, wondering what she was going to do. You idiot, she said. Stop. Sakura, I was just. He was cut off when she wrapped her arms around his waist and rested her head on his left shoulder. This caught Naruto by surprise. He had a slight blush across his face and he couldn't help it and wrapped his arms around her as well, placing his chin on her shoulder. Sakura sniffed a couple times as tears started to slide down her cheeks and onto his shirt. Naruto had a sad frown on his face, as he felt sorry for making her worry about him. Naruto pulled away a bit and lifted his hand up, whipping the tears off her face. It's okay, Sakura, he said. Sakura looked up at him. Emerald eyes met his blue ones with tears still sliding down her cheeks. But Naruto once again whipped the tears off her face. Sakura wrapped her arms around his waist again, embracing him in another hug. He smiled as he rested his chin on her shoulder again and brought his hand up to the back of her head and brushed his hand through her hair. The rest of the gang watched them in awe, seeing how the two best friends were reunited. Sakura finally started to ease down slightly and backed away a bit as she gave him a smile. Another thing that caught him by surprise was that all of his friends grabbed him again and started tossing him into the air. Hooray for Naruto. All of his friends yelled along with the villagers. Fifth Headmaster, Sixth Headmaster, Yamato, and the rest of the Jouhan/Chunin were standing a distance from Naruto and his friends. They all stood there with smiles on their faces and realized how far Naruto has come. Iruka, standing by Konohamaru's side, was so proud of Naruto. He went from being his student to something bigger. He was now looking at a hero. If only you were here, Third Headmaster. You would be so proud to see how much Naruto has changed, Iruka said. Iruka closed his eyes, letting out a big smile as tears of happiness slid down his cheeks. Naruto, you're the hero of the village, he said. To think that out of all the people in this village, Naruto Dangerous Clan turned out to save every single one of us, Sixth Headmaster said. Whoever thought the kid would be able to save this entire village? Naruto Sensei said. Way to go, kid. That was all Fifth Headmaster could think of to say in her mind. She was just too proud of Naruto and couldn't think of anything else. From afar, Konan was standing behind a pile of destroyed building particles and was watching Naruto and his celebration. Pain, I think we both believe and know that Naruto can bring peace to this world, she said, as she looked up at the sky. Naruto was enjoying all the attention and all. That was until he remembered what he had to do. Can you all let me down, please? He asked his friends. They all respected his wish and let him down as they started clapping and cheering for him with the rest of the villagers. Naruto made his way to Fifth Headmaster, which caught her attention. Everyone watched him as he stopped in front of her. I have a request, Granny, he said. Oh, what is that? She asked. Naruto turned his attention back to where Konan was hiding and gave her a signal. She vanished and reappeared next to Naruto. All of Naruto's friends went from happy and cheerful to being well on guard and cautious. Granny, there's nothing to worry about. She's harmless. A vein pulsed on Conan's forehead hearing that she was harmless. My request is that you allow her to live in the village. Naruto said. Fifth Headmaster started to think about it. She looked at Konan, then to Naruto. She blinked a couple times and then crossed her arms. Naruto. He paid attention carefully now and was hoping to hear what he wanted to. Konan was hoping the same and not becoming a target to the village. I accept your request, Fifth Headmaster stated. Naruto let out a big smile as for Konan. She felt relieved and knew she had a lot of talking to do later on. Thank you, Granny, he said. Fifth Headmaster couldn't help but smile as well as seeing him happy. Naruto felt hands grabbing him by his arms pulling him back, as he turned his head to the side seeing that it was his friends. They once again started to toss him in the air. Hooray, Naruto! The entire village chanted. From that time on, they all enjoyed the celebration they threw for Naruto. Cheers, laughter, and all the jazz were going on for quite some time now as they continued his celebration. Time skipped. A month later. It's been a month after the destruction of the Hidden Leaf village. But with the time that has passed by, they managed to bring the village back to its original look. It was back to its peaceful village as the villagers were roaming down the roads. Shopping, training, school, and everything else there was to do, seeing how everyone was enjoying the peace. Well for the hero of the village. He was only enjoying his sleep in his apartment. He was sleeping on the couch ever since Fifth Headmaster allowed Konan to stay in the village, which Naruto offered her to stay with him, in which she did. Konan opened her eyes as the sun beamed through the window. She realized it was late morning and decided to get up out of bed. She lifted the sheet up as she leaned up, turning herself to the side with her feet placed on the ground and stretched her arms out to the side. She brought her arms back down to her sides as she got up, standing next to the bed. She grabbed the sheets and pulled them up, making sure it was neat and straight. She then placed the pillows up against the bedpost. After she finished making the bed, she went to the closet and grabbed a pair of purple shorts and a red t-shirt. She quickly put on her clothes and then she walked into the living room of the apartment. She stopped behind the couch and looked down at the dead silent blonde-headed ninja sleeping peacefully. She walked around it to the front of the couch and sat on the little space there was left on it. She placed her hand on his head and gently brushed her hand through his hair and smiled at him. Her orange eyes were looking at the face of the Hidden Leaf Village's savior's face. Konan has completely changed after the day of the destruction of the village. Ever since Naruto convinced Fifth Headmaster to let Konan live in this village. She's been very grateful to Naruto after what she helped Pain do. Naruto, I know you can fulfill Jiraiya Sensei's and Pine's wish. Every morning she would do this and would always say the same thing in her mind since Yahiko, Nagato, and Jiraiya wanted the same thing. Now that she has met a fourth person that wanted the same dream as her childhood friend and her sensei, she was going to help in every way that she could for him since Nagato passed down his faith on him. She was brought back to reality when she heard the blonde-haired boy let out a groan. He slowly opened his eyes to see Konan sitting right beside him. "Come, he said while leaning up and rubbing his eyes. "What time is it?" he asked. "It's time for you to get up." "That's what time it is," she answered. He let out a sigh as Konan got herself up off the couch. Konan then made her way to the kitchen looking for something to drink. He got up and stood in front of the couch for a minute and looked around. Konan grabbed a cup from the cabinet and filled it up with some ice-cold water. She took a sip out of the cup as she turned around, still sipping the water, and saw Naruto standing there. She blushed from the fact that he wasn't wearing a shirt, while his well-shaped body was revealed. Naruto brought his hands up to his face again and rubbed his eyes, which helped to clear his vision. Konan placed the cup down on the counter and walked back to the bedroom. She opened the closet again and grabbed one of his plain black t-shirts. She walked back to the living room, seeing him still standing there as if he was frozen. "Here, put this on," she said as she tossed the shirt, making it land over his left shoulder. He turned his head to the side to see a blushing Konan, who was facing the side trying to hide it. He smiled as he grabbed the shirt and pulled it over his body and slid his arms through his sleeves. Thanks, he replied. He then walked to the kitchen, also getting something to drink. Konan saw that he was in the kitchen and made her way there as well. Brew grabbed a different cup from the cabinet and also filled his with ice cold water. He brought the cup up to his mouth as he took a sip from his cup. He closed his eyes for a second as he was enjoying the refreshing drink. Konan just looked at him as a lustful grin crept upon her face. She walked over to him as she planted her front side against his back and wrapped her arms around his lower midsection. He opened his eyes to see Konan's arms wrapped around him, while she slid her left hand down through the waistband of his boxers. Brew just rolled his eyes as he grabbed her hands and put them back to her side. He turned around facing her. Must you always do that? He asked. I'm just curious. Seeing how you're good at changing people's minds to them doing the right thing and how you're the savior of your village. I'm just curious of how good you can be at satisfying a woman. She replied as her lustful eyes were looking into his plain blue eyes. He couldn't think of anything to say, but a deep red shade came across his face, which made Konan giggle. Konan moved herself closer onto him, as their faces were just a couple of inches apart. Brew was about to give in, as his hormones were about to get the better of him. They both closed their eyes as the gap between their lips was closing. Brew. Konan and Brew separated as they looked around, hearing a voice. Brew. They heard a knock at the door, which made their attention knowing where it was obviously coming from now. Brew walked over to the door, as Konan just remained in the kitchen. He opened the door to see Sakura. Sakura. What's wrong? He asked. Lady Fifth Headmaster wants to speak with you, she replied. What's it about? He asked. I think you would rather wait and hear it from her, she said, as she gave him a smile. Sakura's eyes gazed down his body, as she realized he was in his boxers. Ugh. Brew. Yes. She punched him smack in the face, sending him flying back into his apartment, slamming against the couch head first. Get dressed, you idiot, she yelled as she left his apartment. Konan looked at Naruto, trying not to laugh at him. He shook his head as he got back on his feet and looked over at Konan. You better hold it laughing, he said as he turned his back to her and walked over to the bedroom. After hearing that, Konan lost her will to laugh as she gave him a serious look this time. She quietly made her way to the bedroom, thinking of what to do to make him regret saying that to her. Brew opened the closet and grabbed his usual black and orange ninja outfit. He spread his jacket open, sliding his arms through the sleeves and then aligned the sides of it in the middle as he zipped up his jacket. He then grabbed his pants, lifting up his left leg and sliding it in, followed up with his right leg. He pulled his pants up and tightened the waistband to make it fit just right. He then put on a pair of socks, followed up with his shoes. He closed the closet doors as he went to one of his nightstands and grabbed his leaf headband. Konan was just standing at the doorway of the bedroom and was waiting for the right time to get him. He wrapped his headband around his forehead and tightened it. He backed up a bit and stood in front of the bed and still hasn't turned around. Konan was starting to get impatient with him as she crossed her arms. The blonde-haired boy was satisfied now, but as he turned around and looked in front of him, he saw Konan right there in front of him. This caused Naruto to blush at how close she was. Konan, he asked. She ignored him and pushed him onto the bed and crawled onto him, placing her legs on each side of him and pinned his arms down with her hands. But then she let go of his arms since she thought of something different. She leaned up, sitting on his waist, and looked down at him as her hands were wandering all over her body. Brew was completely beat red as he was lying there hopelessly watching her. You like what you see? She asked in a seductive tone. Brew, however, didn't say a word, as a simple nod was all he could show for an answer. She grabbed the bottom of her shirt and lifted it up and removed it off her, then tossing it aside. She had a purple bra on, covering her breast up. Now, Brew, is this any better? She asked. Once again, he could only nod for an answer. She grinned at him as she leaned down with her lips just a couple inches from his. I'm going to see how well you are in bed, whether you like it or not, she whispered to him. She moved closer and stopped when she was just an inch away from making contact. There's just one question though, she whispered. As usual, Brew couldn't say anything, as he was completely red. Do you regret saying what you told me earlier, when you said I better hold in my lap? She asked. He nodded. Good, she said as she leaned back up and got up off him. Brew, however, shot up immediately in confusion. What? But you actually thought I was going to seriously go any further? She asked. Konan couldn't help but could laugh at him. Well, now you know what happens when you tell me what I better do or not do. She winked at him as she put her shirt back on. By now, Bruto finally snapped out of it and got himself off the bed. Konan stood there looking at him with a satisfied look. He looked at her, but with a disappointed look. They both just stood there giving each other looks. Konan giving him a satisfied look. As for him, he was giving her a disappointment one. Konan raised an eyebrow. Don't you have to go see Fifth Headmaster? She asked. Bruto snapped out of the little staring contest they were having as he ran to the front door. Damn you, Konan. You got to stop distracting me, he said, as he opened the door and ran out the door. Konan just kept her attention on the door as she grinned at hearing what he last said. Location: Headmaster's office. What's taking him so long? Fifth Headmaster asked. Well, seeing how it is Bruto we're talking about, he'll obviously run a little late, Shizune replied. Well, he needs to. The door slammed open. Sorry I'm late, Granny, Bruto said. Well, it's about time, run. Close the door, Fifth Headmaster demanded. Bruto without any remarks closed the door and stood in front of her desk. So, what did you call me for? Fifth Headmaster looked over at Shizune, while Shizune looked at Fifth Headmaster with concern. Bruto realized the two were looking at each other. Granny, Bruto asked. Fifth Headmaster then turned her attention back to him. Bruto, this is going to be a bit. A bit what? He asked. Fifth Headmaster closed her eyes as she let out a sigh. Let me put it this way. With the power of the Headmaster, I'm giving it up. What? Bruto yelled. Sheesh, quiet down, will you? She demanded. I thought that whoever was the Headmaster, that they couldn't just drop it, Bruto said. Would you just shut up for a minute? Fifth Headmaster asked. Bruto nodded as his response. Now, as I was saying, I'm giving it up. And what? Bruto asked. Let me finish. Fifth Headmaster yelled. Bruto took a couple steps back since he always hated when Fifth Headmaster yelled like that. Bruto, I'm offering you the position of becoming the sixth Headmaster. Bruto's eyes widened in complete shock, as he just stood there as if he was frozen. Fifth Headmaster sat there patiently waiting for his answer, as did Shizune with Tonkin in her arms. Bruto finally snapped out of it. Let me hear this correctly. You want me to become the sixth Headmaster? He asked. Yes, Fifth Headmaster answered. Bruto realized she was being serious as he was starting to feel a little lightheaded now. Fifth Headmaster rolled her eyes knowing what was about to happen. Bruto dropped to the floor, passed out, still not believing what she told him. Bruto, Shizune said as she went to his side. He'll be fine, Shizune. He just passed out is all, Fifth Headmaster said. Little did they know that someone was watching them from a nearby building. A strange large Venus flytrap came out of the wall. We should report this to Madara, Zetsu said. Well, let's hurry the fuck up, the other side of Zetsu mentioned. With that said, Zetsu disappeared back into the wall, making his way to the hideout. Time skip. 3 hours. A pair of eyes opened ever so slowly, blurring their vision. He leaned up, realizing he was in his apartment lying in his bed. He rubbed the back of his head, remembering what occurred just a few hours ago. Bruto, I'm offering you the position of becoming the sixth Headmaster. His eyes widened, remembering what Fifth Headmaster had offered him. Me, the sixth Headmaster, he asked himself. He held out his hands as he looked down at them. Why me though? He asked himself. Bruto. He snapped out of it as he heard someone at his door. He got up out of bed and made his way to the front door. Bruto. The person yelled as they kept knocking on the door. As he approached the door, he unlocked it and opened it to see that it was Sakura. He left the door open as he went back inside and decided to plop himself onto the couch. Sakura gave him a worried look, wondering what was going through his head after Fifth Headmaster's offer. She walked into the apartment, as she closed the door behind her and locked it. Bruto was just sitting there on the couch, staring down at the floor. Sakura's eyes softened, while she walked to the couch and sat down next to him. Bruto, I know it's a tough decision, but I know it is. I just never expected it to happen like this. I mean, if you think about it, Sakura, as you know. I mean, we all know, I have 9 tails in me, and if I were to become Headmaster, that's just going to make me become the center of attention to a lot of criminals. Sakura knew what he meant and couldn't think of anything to say. Not to mention, even the dangerous clan will find some way to bring me down. No doubt that they will either. Not to mention, Bruto friend might plan something too, he said. Sakura looked at him with a serious look. Bruto, do you remember what you would always announce to everyone years ago when we were students in the academy? She asked. By now, Bruto knew where she was going with this. Yes, he answered. You would always tell everyone that you would become the headmaster of this village someday. You always stand up to your words. You always protect everyone, and you even managed to save the entire village. You trained with Jiraiya for years just so you would become stronger and get closer to becoming headmaster. Didn't you make a promise to Jiraiya in pain? She asked. Bru instantly shot up and gave a serious look as well. How do you know that? He asked. Konan told me, she answered. But apart from that, didn't you promise them that you would find peace to this world? Bru went back to looking down at the ground. Yes. You made a promise and like you always do. You need to stick with your words and make it happen. Seeing how all these years that you dreamed of becoming headmaster you were all excited. And now, you seem like you regret announcing that. Well, you told everyone that you would become headmaster and yet, you have the ability right now. Yet, you're not sticking with your words. Bruto, today is the day you become the sixth headmaster. Something you've always dreamed of is coming true. After hearing Sakura's little speech, he was starting to feel better. Bruto shot up standing in front of the couch, which caught Sakura by surprise as she looked up at him. You're right, Sakura. I did make a promise and I also did announce to the entire village. Now, I just have to make it happen and fulfill it. He reached his hands to the back of his head and tightened his headband. Sakura stood up next to him, while looking at him with a proud look. Bruto ran to the front door and opened it. Sakura smiled as she walked over to him. They both walked out of his apartment as he closed the door and locked it. He remained facing the doorknob as Sakura looked at him with a smile. Sakura. Yes? She asked. Thank you, he said, which just caused her to blush slightly. Oh, you're... She was cut off when she saw that he grabbed her hand. This caused her to blush an even deeper red. He started to run, while holding onto her hand, making their way to the headmaster's office. Location. Unknown. So, Bruto friend, what do you plan on doing? Madara asked. Bruto friend kept a serious look on his face while in his mind he was filled with anger and revenge. I'm going to destroy the hidden league, he answered. If that's what you plan on doing, I recommend you take your team with you just in case. I'm sending Kazan with you, Madara said. Bruto friend ignored him as he was planning something out of how to approach the village. Madara. They both turned their attention to what was behind them. They saw Zetsu coming out from the ground. What is it, Zetsu? Madara asked. I have some very shocking news that you may want to hear. Oh. This also caught Bruto friend's attention as they both looked at Zetsu. Fifth Headmaster. One of the legendary Senins and the current headmaster of Elite Village has given up on being the headmaster. Both Madara and Bruto friend's eyes widened, finding it very shocking. What was the reason of that? Madara asked. Well, here's the real shocker of the news. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Bruto Dangerous Clan has become the sixth headmaster, Zetsu announced. Once again, both Madara and Bruto friend's eyes widened in shock. Are you joking? The Nine-Tails of Headmaster. Madara yelled. So Bruto, looks like you've gotten a lot stronger than our last encounter. Bruto friend thought. I see. In that case. Bruto friend, Madara said as he turned around facing him. When exactly do you plan on attacking the village? Madara asked. Bruto friend thought about it for a minute then looked at Madara. In a week. Alright, Zetsu, I want you going with him, but just observe at what happens. Bruto friend and his team along with Kazan will be attacking the village in the process. Will do, Zetsu answered. In the meantime, Bruto friend, you need to rest and be at your all before you head out, Madara mentioned. I'm well aware of that, Bruto friend replied. Okay, you're dismissed, Zetsu. Zetsu nodded as he sunk back into the ground and disappeared. I hope you're willing to accomplish something that Pain hasn't, Bruto friend. I also want you to fight Bruto mainly and bring him to me, Madara said. Don't worry, I won't fail and no one will make me have a change in mind, Bruto friend said as a grin cracked upon his face. Location. Headmaster's office. Fifth headmaster was sitting at her desk going through all the paperwork as always. Granny. She looked up hearing the voice coming right out from the door. Come in, she mentioned. The door opened to reveal Naruto and Sakura. Oh, looks like you're doing better. Yeah, I just came to say that I accept the position, Naruto replied. Fifth headmaster gave him a big smile as she got up out of her chair and walked over to him. Naruto was looking at fifth headmaster with a serious look on his face, while Sakura was smiling at him. Fifth headmaster stopped in front of him and smiled at him as she held out her hand and placed her finger on his forehead. Looks like we have Minato Jr. following his father's steps, she mentioned. Bruto kept the same smile on, as he was feeling proud for himself now since he reached his goal. He lifted up his hand making a fist, but leaving the thumb pointed out as he whipped his nose with a quick brush and gave fifth headmaster a thumbs up. I'm happy for you, Naruto. You can all come out now. Fifth Headmaster said. Bruto dropped his arms hearing what she said. What? Bruto asked as he turned around to see all his friends in the hall. Sixth Headmaster. Iruka, Yamato, Guy, Kurenai, Bruto-sensei, Konan, Sai, Neji, Lee, Tengen, Kiba, Shino, Hinata, Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru. They were all there in the hall and had heard everything that occurred. They all threw their arms into the air and crowded around Murdo. Congratulations. Murdo, fifth headmaster said. Way to go, Murdo. Everyone yelled. Time skip. Next day. Location. Headmaster's office. Our new headmaster was doing something he wasn't looking forward to doing as headmaster. He was doing paperwork. Since he became headmaster, he's been wearing his sage outfit ever since. Ugh. This is too much work, Murdo said to himself. He stopped what he was doing as he heard a knock on the door. Come in, he said. The door opened to reveal Sakura. Hey Murdo, how's the work going? She asked. Annoying. It's so much work, he said as he continued on his work. Sakura couldn't help but giggle at him. Hey, it's not funny, he said, as he had a small frown on his face. Murdo instantly stopped what he was doing as he sensed an unfamiliar presence in the village. This caught Sakura's attention as she saw him looking out the window. Murdo, she asked. He turned around as he ran right past her and to the door. Sakura turned around. Murdo, what's wrong? She asked. He ignored her as he ran out the door, making his way outside. Sakura followed him just to see what he was up to. Right when she reached the main entrance of the headmaster's building, she looked around, realizing that she lost him. Elsewhere within the village, there was a tall figure that wore a black cloak with red clouds on it, along with a straw hat to cover their face, and with a large sword that was wrapped on his back. He also had a partner next to him. He was rather a bit shorter, and he also wore the same clothing and hat. Instead, he had a sword tied to the side of his waist. It looks like the village is back to its original look after the destruction, Kasan thought. They continued walking as he cast several shots at citizens. The Hidden Lake Village. It sure hasn't changed a bit ever since I left. They continued walking. That was until they stopped right in front of Ichirika's ramen. They turned their attention to the bar. As they approached to it, they walked in and took a seat. Hello and welcome to Ichi. Toichi stopped what he was about to say as he realized the cloaks on the two. What are you two doing here? Toichi asked. We just want to know where the dangerous clan is. Have any ideas? Kasan asked. I would never tell you anything, Toichi answered. Hey Dad, is there something? I gained shock as well seeing the two figures wearing the clothes. Kisune's partner realized her in the back as he jumped over the counter and appeared behind her. He pulled out his sword and held it up to her neck. Toichi turned around to see her. Aye, he yelled. Now, don't worry. She won't die unless you tell us where her dangerous clan is, Kasan stated. Toichi didn't want to tell out where her was, as he had no choice seeing that he knew they would kill his daughter. Toichi sighed seeing that he had no choice. He's at the headmaster's building, he answered. Kasan gave him a huge smile. Now, was it so hard? Kasan asked. Toichi didn't say a word to that as he was focused on one thing. Not let my daughter go. I told you where he is, he demanded. Kasan sighed. Kill her, he said. No. The other member held up his sword as he brought it closer to Ayana's neck. Ayane just screamed to the top of her lungs, knowing this would be it. Just when he was inches of making impact to her neck, he was stopped. I knew I sensed you too, Murdo said. Murdo. Toichi and Ayane yelled, feeling relieved. He kicked the guy, sending him against the wall. What are you two doing here? Murdo asked. Let me answer that for you, Kasan said. Murdo turned around, hearing his voice. We came to negotiate with you. Kasan gave him a grin. I see. Let's not talk about the fear then, Murdo said, as he grabbed the other dangerous clan member by the collar and vanished out of the bar with Kasan following. Location. Training grounds. Murdo along with the two dangerous clan members appeared onto the training ground. Murdo just tossed the guy for Kasan. Okay, let's hear it, he demanded. I'll just make it quick. You hand yourself over to us. If you deny, then you will witness another destruction to the Hidden Leaf Village. And I will promise you that we won't fail like Pain did, Kasan said. Murdo's eyes widened, knowing that this was a tough decision. He had just become headmaster yesterday, and now he has to deal with this. Another threat to the Hidden Leaf Village. It was either hand himself over or have everyone in the village die. He looked down at the ground. I have to take these two out quick, he thought. Well, what's your answer? Kasan asked. He looked back up and right at them. Okay, first, I want to see who your partner is. Bruno demanded. Kassan smiled widely as he turned to face his partner and nodded. The newly member of Dangerous Clan reached up and grabbed his hat. He lifted it up, throwing it aside. Once Bruno got a good look, his eyes widened, not believing what he was seeing. Kassan looked back at Bruno. Well, have anything to say? He asked. Sa. Bruno friend. He stuttered. Surprised to see he bought her. Bruno friend asked. Bruno couldn't think of anything to say. I'm starting to lose my patience, Kassan said. Bruno on the other hand just stood there acting like he was frozen. Bruno friend, Kassan called out. Yeah. Take him out and we'll bring him in by force. I thought we never asked, he said as he charged a Chidori all around his right arm. He held up his right arm aiming right at Bruno. Chidori spear, he said as a long string of lightning shot toward Bruno. He didn't budge at all, seeing how he wasn't focused on the attack that Bruno friend made. Char. Bruno friend jumped back a bit, avoiding Sakura's attack, which caused his attack to disappear. As Sakura's fist made impact with the ground, it caused the ground to lift up. Wasn't she your other partner back then? Kassan asked. Bruno friend gave Sakura a death glare. Yes, he answered. Bruno friend, why are you doing this? She asked. He ignored her. Bruno friend, why are you even with the Dangerous Clan? She asked. Once again, he ignored her. Bruno friend, why? She was cut off to see that he was now behind her. You're still annoying, he said as he backhanded her, causing her to fly a few feet ahead and fall to the ground. Bruno finally snapped out of it as he saw Sakura was now here but was lying on the ground. Sakura, he yelled as he ran to her. Bruno friend just stood there watching him go over to her. Bruno, you're running out of time, he mentioned. Bruno stopped next to her as he got on one of his knees and held her up to lean her against his arm. He looked down at her. Sakura. Sakura, he said, but there was no answer. Bruno friend closed his eyes. Okay, I'm making the choice for you then. You're coming with us. Bruno gently laid her back down. As he got back on his feet, he turned around to face Bruno friend. I swear that you're going to pay, he yelled as his eyes flashed red. Bruno friend opened his eyes, feeling his chakra increasing. Bruno's body was now being engulfed by red chakra, which was surrounding him. The whisper marks on his face were getting darker and grew slightly. Bruno friend charged towards Bruno, attempting to bring him down before he loses it. He pulled out his sword, then swung it down, which was stopped by him grabbing it. Bruno friend looked behind him and realized that if he had 3 tails. Bruno friend, I think he made his choice. Let's retreat for now, Kassan suggested. Bruno friend closed his eyes, then vanished with Kassan. Bruno friend. Bruno yelled in his demon-like tone. He looked around to see if he could see where they went off to. That was until he sensed them just a few yards away from him. I'm coming for you, Bruno friend, he yelled again in his fox tone. He took off, charging after them. Looks like he's following us, Kassan mentioned. Bruno friend turned his head to the side and could feel his presence getting closer. Looks like he is. He closed his eyes and opened to reveal his Shuriken. He's closing in on us, Bruno friend announced. Then I say we have a little fun with the run, Kassan said as a grin cracked upon his face. Sakura opened her eyes and realized that she was the only one here. She slowly got up back to her feet. Bruno, she called out, but there was no response. I need to go warn 5th Headmaster, she said to herself, as she made her way back to the village. Location, Leaf Village. 5th Headmaster was walking around in the Headmaster's building, remembering how she ran things here and there. That was then she decided to go pay Naruto a visit to see how he was holding up. She walked up the stairs and around the hall. She then stopped in front of the door. She realized that the door was open. Bruno, she called out. There was no answer. She opened the door all the way to see that he wasn't there. She walked in to see a big stack of paperwork sitting on the desk. He's never going to get this finished if he just lets them sit there, she said to herself. She walked over to the windows and looked down at the village. She kept looking around. That was until she saw Sakura running around. Sakura, what's she doing? She thought. She ran out of the room and back down the hall. 5th Headmaster. Have you seen 5th Headmaster? Sakura asked the villager. No, the villager answered. She turned around and asked another villager, but got the same answer. Sakura. She turned around to see 5th Headmaster walking over to her. What's going on? 5th Headmaster asked. 5th Headmaster. She ran toward her. Whoa, Sakura, what's wrong? It's Naruto. What about him? He went after the Dangerous Clan and Naruto friend. 5th Headmaster's eyes widened. We need to go stop him quickly. she said. Location: Tenchi Bridge. I think this place should work, Kasan suggested. Murdo friend nodded as they stopped and stood in front of what used to be Tenchi Bridge from a fight that went between Murdo and Orochimaru. Here he comes, Kasan said. They were looking at the path they came from and realized a few trees fallen. Murdo friend. Yeah, Murdo friend replied. Murdo appeared in front of him still in his three-tailed form. You're coming back, he yelled. Murdo friend closed his eyes and sighed. When will you learn Baka? I'm never coming back, he said. Murdo charged toward them with full speed. Kasan just grinned as he grabbed the handle of his sword. The bandages unwrapped themselves to reveal his shark-skin sword. Murdo held out his arms. As he charged up two Rassidans with one in each hand, Kasan performed a few hand signs. Water style. Water shark bomb jutsu. 3 water sharks came out from the ground and shot toward Murdo. Murdo friend charged toward him as well, but used the water sharks as his cover. Murdo brought up his right arm holding one of the Rassidans out. The sharks in Murdo's Rassidon made impact, which caused the water sharks to explode, causing somewhat of a mini shower. Murdo friend jumped up into the air and pulled out his sword with his right hand. He pulled back his left arm, lightning style. Chidori Spear. He shot out his arm, pointed down at Murdo as lightning shot out from his arm and struck down at Murdo. Murdo saw the lightning that was just about to close in on him, but he held out his other arm with the last Rassidon he had formed. The lightning struck down and made impact on the Rassidon. Murdo jumped back to see Murdo friend standing in front of him. He looked back behind Murdo friend to realize that Kisame was missing. He instantly turned around, but was sent flying toward Murdo friend due to Kisame's kick. Murdo friend grinned as he held out his sword. Lightning style. Lightning blade. His sword was now covered in with lightning. Murdo saw his blade as he brought himself to a halt. He was just a couple feet away from being impaled by his sword. He looked to his right to see Kisame, then to his left to see Murdo friend. I'll make it quick, Murdo friend said as he held up his right arm into the air. Kisame knew what he was about to do. Murdo friend, not here, Kisame suggested. Murdo friend brought his arm back down to his side to see what Kisame meant. They felt a few people coming towards them that were only a few yards away. We need to retreat for now, Kisame said. Murdo friend nodded as him and Kisame vanished. Murdo friend. Murdo yelled. The red chakra that was surrounding his body was now being absorbed back into his body. Murdo was now back to his normal look and just stood there and knew that he had failed once again to bring Murdo friend back. Murdo. He ignored the voices that were heard close by. Murdo. Sakura yelled as she saw him just standing there. He knew that she wasn't alone and that she brought a team of 5 including herself. The other 4 were Neji, Kiba, Tenjin, and 5th Headmaster as the leader. Yo, Murdo, Kiba pulled out. Once again though, Murdo ignored them. I failed. Again, he mumbled. What? Neji asked. I failed. Again, he mumbled once more. Murdo, what are you trying to say? Tenjin asked. I said I failed again, he yelled, which caught everyone by surprise due to the fact of him yelling. Murdo, it's okay, you don't. No, I'm tired of how I always fail at bringing him back, he yelled, cutting Sakura off. Murdo, please forget about the problem that just took place and come back to the village, 5th Headmaster said. Murdo clenched both his hands into a fist, and gritted his teeth. His arms were now shaking with anger. Sakura slowly approached him, being extremely cautious due to his emotions. She stopped just a few inches away from him as she placed her right hand on his shoulder. This caused Murdo to turn around in an instant, which made Sakura jump a bit. He walked right past her, then past the others. As he was making his way back to the village, Sakura along with everyone else turned around to watch him leave with worried looks on their faces. Murdo was walking slowly with his arms still shaking with anger. He kept his attention to the ground, not caring where he was going to end up. As for Sakura and the others, they weren't too far behind him. They decided to keep their distance from him, seeing how he was feeling. Do you think he'll be alright? Tenjin asked. Sakura gave no answer since she had a soft look on her face, feeling terrible for Murdo. He'll be fine, 5th Headmaster answered. Neji was in front of the group since he had his Byakugan activated, keeping an eye on Murdo. Kiba was merely in the back sniffing out if there was anything suspicious. 5th Headmaster looked at Sakura, seeing her expression. Sakura. Sakura turned her attention to the side, looking at 5th Headmaster. He'll be fine, she said. She turned her attention back to what was in front of her, thinking about both Murdo and Murdo friend. Back to our new headmaster. Murdo by now was back to walking, but he had tears forming in his eyes. Flashback. Why do you go so far to stop me? Murdo friend asked. Because you were the only one I shared a bond with, Murdo answered. Bruto friend's eyes widened. Bruto. All the time we had as a team was not wasted. We became best friends, but I'll just have to sever the bond. End flashback. Tears started to fall from his cheeks to the ground. Flashback. Bruto friend. I won't let Orochimaru have you. It's too late, Bruto. I'm not going back and you can't stop me. I'll break every bone in your body if I have to and drag you back to the village myself. Bruto yelled. Bruto and Bruto friend were charging at each other in the sky. Bruto with his Rescindant and Bruto friend with his Black Chidori. As they collided, a massive explosion occurred. But later on, revealed Bruto lying on the ground unconscious as for Bruto friend. He was standing behind him looking down at him. End of flashback. Bruto stopped by a tree as his tears kept bleeding out of his eyes. He then slammed his fist into the tree, causing it to fall over. He brought his arm back and held out his hand in front of him as he looked down at his hand. I will bring you back, Bruto friend, no matter what it takes, he thought as he clenched his hand into a fist. After a few minutes, Bruto was approaching the main gate of the village with Sakura and everyone else right behind him. Kotetsu and Izumo were standing guard at the main entrance, as they realized their new headmaster was approaching along with the others. Bruto, where did? Don't speak, Bruto demanded, which cut Izumo off. Bruto walked right past him, leaving Izumo and Kotetsu wide-eyed, wondering what was wrong with him. Sakura and the others stopped by there too. He's having a real bad time right now, Fifth Headmaster said. What happened? Kotetsu asked. Well, he's frustrated at how he failed to bring Bruto friend back when he had a chance, Fifth Headmaster answered. Bruto friend, he was here? Izumo asked. Yes, he was in the village at first is what I heard. Then, they lured him out of the village, Sakura answered. How come he didn't sense his presence? Izumo asked. Because they probably kept it hidden. Wait, they? Who was the other one? Kotetsu asked. Kasan Hoshigaki, Neji answered. Location, unknown. Madara was leaning against the wall waiting for Naruto friend and Kasan to return with the news. Madara, Kasan called out as him and Naruto friend were approaching him. Ah, I see you both returned safely. So, what happened? He asked. He refused, Kasan answered. I figured he would. Anyway, we have a newcomer that would like to help us. Madara mentioned as he held out his arm to call out the person. Bruto friend and Kasan turned their attention seeing someone approaching them from behind Madara. The mysterious figure was wearing a cloak with a hood over his head. He had a tail that looked like a snake. He grabbed his hood as he pulled it off his head. Bruto friend's eyes widened. It's nice to see you again. Bruto friend. Kabuto. Bruto friend said. Kabuto's skin was all scaly looking. He looked as if he was turning to look like Orochimaru. What are you doing here, Kabuto? Bruto friend asked. I figured I should join forces in order to fulfill your goal, he answered. I see. So, a traitor of the dangerous clan joins us once again. Kasan asked. Yes, Madara replied. And don't underestimate him either. I've seen what he was capable of, Madara mentioned. Oh, care to show us? Kasan asked. Kabuto grinned as he performed a few hand signs. He then placed his hand onto the ground as 5 crates came out of the ground. The lids of the crates came loose to reveal Sasori, Daiara, Zabuza, Haku, and Itachi. Bruto friend's eyes widened as he was mainly focused on seeing his older brother. This caught Kazuma's attention as well, which shocked him by surprise to once again see his former partner. That's not all I can bring back, but I think this will be enough to show, Kabuto said. Well, I'm impressed, Kasan said. However, Bruto friend didn't say anything since he was still focused on seeing his brother. Kabuto realized his reaction since he brought him back. That's right, Itachi here was the one you killed and realized when you did that it was a mistake of doing so, Kabuto said. Bruto friend was starting to get frustrated as he wished that he had never killed his older brother. He clenched his hands into a pair of fists. I swear. Kasan, Madara, and Kabuto looked over at Bruto friend wondering what he had to say. I will avenge my brother and crush the Elite Village, he said. Kasan grinned as did Kabuto, but Madara simply smiled. And Bruto friend, we will be there to help make it happen, Kasan said. Good, because the destruction of the Elite Village will not fail. He yelled. Location. Headmaster's office. Bruto was sitting at his desk still feeling sad since he failed at bringing Bruto friend back. You're one of the ones I want to fight the most. Bruto remembered what Bruto friend had said to him once they became Team 7. His thoughts were lost as he heard a knock on the door. Come in, he said. The door opened to reveal 6th Headmaster. 6th Headmaster Sensei. Bruto asked. Bruto, I heard what happened. he said. Murdo's eyes softened, not wanting to talk about it. Listen, Murdo friend. Stop, I don't want to talk about this. Murdo, just listen, Sixth Pet Master said. Murdo didn't say anything, allowing Sixth Pet Master to speak. Murdo friend, isn't who we all thought he was. He's changed and is no longer what he used to be. He left the village for his reasons. I know that you've tried and change his mind, but apparently it hasn't helped. I think it's best that we stop trying since he has fallen into the darkness. Murdo kept his attention focused on the desk, not making eye contact with Sixth Pet Master. And I know it hurts, Murdo. You and Sakura both. You were Team 7 and you all became close. But, that's gone now. Murdo friend had a change in heart. Right now, you need to try and focus. There is no telling when they will attack the village. You're worried about Murdo friend, and yet, you don't see that the entire village is at risk. Everyone's lives are at stake due to the threat. Sixth Pet Master Sensei. I know what you're saying and I do agree with you. I'm just mainly worried about the bond that him and I had. Now, he's broke the bond and I didn't accept that, and now he's going to destroy the village. I finally fulfilled a dream of mine of becoming headmaster and I need to take responsibility of it. The village is under my care and I can't let it happen. They're all counting on my protection for them. Sixth Pet Master gave him a serious look, and since Murdo friend threatened us, I can't allow it. I will stop him from doing so, even if it means. Sixth Pet Master raised an eyebrow, curious at what he was about to say. Even if it means I have to kill him. Sixth Pet Master's eyes widened, not believing what Murdo had just said. Murdo, he thought. Murdo slammed his fists onto the desk. I'll protect this village from him and the dangerous clan with my life, he yelled. Sixth Pet Master's eyes softened, giving him a smile. So, that means the promise you made to Sakura long ago. Murdo's eyes softened. I'll have to talk to her about that. There's no need to. Sixth Pet Master and Murdo turned their attention to the doorway to see Sakura with tears flowing down her cheeks. Sakura. She walked into the office and knocked on Murdo. Sixth Pet Master turned back around, looking at her. She stopped in front of his desk. I understand, Murdo. I don't care anymore. Sakura. That's why I'm going to help, she said. Both Murdo and Sixth Pet Master's eyes widened, not believing what they just heard. This completely shocked both of them. This was the girl that had a huge crush on Murdo friend for a long time, and now she wants to help kill him. What was that? Murdo asked. I said I'm going to help you against Murdo friend. No, Murdo said. What? Murdo, I've realized how many times he rejected me in the years and now he's a criminal. I've lost all hope for him and I can care less of what happens to him. I said no. Why? Because you're the one that I want to fight the most. Because I'm the one that he wants to fight, Murdo answered. But Murdo. No, Sakura, and plus, I don't want you getting hurt, he said. Sakura didn't say a word, seeing how that he wasn't going to allow her anywhere in the fight at all. Plus, we had a score to settle that we never finished back at the final valley, he mentioned. Sixth Pet Master knew where he was getting and remembered the sight he saw when he had arrived at the valley. He remembered seeing Murdo lying on the ground unconscious. Sakura's eyes started to form tears. Then make me a different promise, she said. What's that? Murdo asked. Promise me that you'll win and protect the village. By now her tears started falling from her cheeks and landing on his desk. He gave her a big smile. I promise. Sakura couldn't help but smile, as her tears were now joyful ones. Murdo came around his desk and stood next to her, grabbing her hand. She looked up at him, her emerald green eyes meeting his blue ones. I promise, Sakura, he said once more. Her tears continued to fall down her cheeks, but then she smiled up at him. He closed his eyes, giving her a big smile, and gave her a thumb up. His eyes shot open, as he felt her pair of arms wrap around his waist. He saw Sakura embracing him in a hug, as she planted her head against his shoulder. He looked down at her and wrapped his arms around her. Sixth Pet Master smiled at the two, seeing how they both were now putting Murdo friend aside and doing what was right. Murdo, you truly have grown. I'm sure Jiraiya would be extremely proud of you, Sixth Pet Master thought. Sixth Pet Master looked out the window and realized that it was getting dark. Hey, you two. It's getting late. Murdo turned his head to the side with Sakura still in his arms and looked out the window. You're right. Guess I'll just have to finish this paperwork some other time. I'll see you two later, Sixth Pet Master said, as he walked out the room. Murdo unwrapped his arms and walked over to stand in front of the windows. Sakura walked around the desk. She pushed the paperwork aside so that she could sit on his desk facing out the window. Murdo friend, I'm not going to hold back. I will stop you if it even means that I have to kill you, Murdo thought. Sakura placed her arms back, as she leaned back a little and placed her left leg over her right one. Bruto turned around and jumped a bit to see Sakura sitting on his desk. She smiled at him. "What now?" she asked. "I'm going to get some rest," he answered. Sakura's smile turned into a small frown. "Oh, wait, why so early though?" she asked. "Well, I'm just tired due to what happened today." "Oh, why do you ask?" Sakura let out a small blush. "Nothing," she answered. Bruto walked to the door and stopped. "Come on," he called out. Sakura hopped off his desk and walked over to him. She walked out the door followed by him. As he closed the door once they all left, he locked the door then turned around facing Sakura. "So, what are you going to do?" he asked. "I think I'm going home as well then," she said. "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, Sakura," he said, while closing his eyes and giving her a smile. She smiled at him, but then she did the unexpected. She threw her arms around his neck and planted a kiss on his lips. This defiantly caught him by surprise, but he couldn't help himself. He wrapped his arms around her waist to deepen the kiss. After a short time, the two broke apart from a kiss. He looked down at her, and she looked up at him. "Sakura." "Bruto, I've been holding this in for too long now and I just had to let it out. But, I thought, no, I've realized it long ago I fell in love with a fool that had always broke my heart and always rejected me. But, I've seen how you were always there by my side all these years. You always protected me and made me happy. That was when I realized that I was falling for you. Sakura. Bruto, I love you." Hearing her admitting something that he always wished to hear was coming true, his eyes widened shocked to hear that the girl he had always had a crush on for years and would always hurt him or reject him. Now, she has completely changed and came forth to admit her feelings. He now realized that she wasn't lying and was straight up telling him the truth. He wrapped his arms around her waist once again, which this time caught her by surprise. She wrapped her arms around his neck again, as they scooted closer against each other, their lips just an inch from making contact. "Hey Sakura." Both Ryu and Sakura quickly let go of each other and turned their attention to the side to see Ino. "Ugh," was all Ino could think of to say. Both Ryu and Sakura's faces had a deep red blush. "Well, this is awkward," Ino mentioned. Ryu just scratched the back of his head. "Damn it, Ino pig," Sakura yelled. "Hey, calm down their forehead," Ino replied. "Why did you all of a sudden decide to come here?" Sakura asked. "Because I wanted to see." "See what?" "How Ryu and I kissed," Sakura said, cutting Ino off. Ryu decided to step in before these two went at each other. He stood in front of Sakura and placed his hands on her shoulders. "Calm down, Sakura. It's nothing to get mad about," he said. Ino walked up to the back of Ryu and wrapped her arms around his waist and placed her head over his right shoulder. "Yes, Sakura. It's nothing to get mad about," she said. Ryu blushed seeing how Ino just threw herself on him and could feel her breath on his ear when she was talking. "Ugh. Ino." Ryu called out. She turned her eyes to the side looking at him. "Yes, Ryu?" she asked. "You're a bit close," he said. "So, I thought you liked having attention," she asked. Sakura was starting to get frustrated seeing how her childhood friend was making a move on a man that she just admitted her love to. Ina's hands started sliding down his body as they made their way to the waistband of his pants. Ryu grabbed her hands and pulled them away before she got what she was looking for. "I'm going to get some sleep. I'll see you two tomorrow," he said as he walked off leaving the two girls alone. "What the hell do you think you were doing, Ino pig?" Sakura was trying to keep herself from landing a hit on her best friend. "What? Is it wrong for me to flirt around with him?" "Yes. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think he was actually enjoying it if you ask me." A seductive grin cracked upon Ina's face. "Besides, he's just what I'm looking for." "What? Looking for? What do you mean?" "That he would satisfy me in every need." Sakura blushed due to the way Ino said that, which was what she was looking forward for herself. "I mean, look at him. He's the hero of the village, which I bet almost every girl in the village is after him. Not to mention his figure, those blue eyes, his muscular form, and there is no telling how." "Okay, that's enough," Sakura said, cutting Ino off. "Oh come on, Sakura, I bet you're curious too." Sakura's face became beet red since she knew that her best friend was right. Ino turned her back to her as she headed back home. "Just remember, Sakura, I assure you that a lot of the girls in the village are after him too." Those were Ina's last words since she was out of Sakura's sight. Location: Murta's apartment. Murta opened the door to his apartment as he walked in then closed the door behind him. "Murta, He turned around to see Konan wearing a short t-shirt that showed her belly button, and a pair of short shorts that showed off her nice curves. Her hair was straight down for once without the bun she would usually have on. "Where have you been?" she asked. "I don't." He then remembered the incident that happened today. Konan could realize something was bugging him. "I've been at the office all day," he said, giving her a smile. However, he couldn't fool her. "You're lying," she said. "I'm not." He took off his sage outfit and hung it up on a coat rack that was next to the door. He walked through the living room and plopped himself onto the couch. Conan came up to him and sat next to him. "What happened?" she asked, while giving him a serious look. "I said I don't want to talk about it." Conan was starting to get annoyed by him not wanting to talk. That's when she had an idea of how to get him to talk. "Well then, since you don't want to talk." She got up and sat on his lap with each leg of hers on his side. She placed her hands on his shoulders, pushing him back against the couch some more. She leaned in closer to him, keeping just a couple inches from making contact. "I guess we can have some fun then," she said in a seductive tone. "That won't work on me," he said. "Oh, and to make it better." She leaned in closer to line her lips up next to his ear. "I'm not wearing anything underneath," she whispered. His face was completely covered by a dark crimson color. He felt the rush coming through his nose. As he tried to hold it back, Conan jumped a bit since she felt something poking her thighs. "Oh wow, Naruto, you get turned on so easily," she said in a seductive tone. Okay, I'll talk," he said. "Oh." His eyes softened. "What happened was?" "Location. Unknown. Zetsu." "Yes, Madara." "Where is Nagata's body being held at?" "I don't know. Conan is the only one that knows." "Did you not spy on them when Naruto was fighting Pain?" "I did, but I left after Naruto left the 6 pack of Pains behind." "Damn it, this is going to rather be harder than I thought. I need to find out where she hid him and take back what's mine, Zetsu." "Yes. I want you to go to the Leaf Village and try to overhear any conversations that Conan has and see if she talks about Nagato." "I'll try, but what if I get caught? I mean, it is a big village after all, and since the Nine Tails has developed some new tricks, I'm pretty sure he can sense me out." "Madara." Both Madara and Zetsu turned around to see Naruto friend coming towards them. "What is it, Naruto friend?" Madara asked. "I was just thinking. If Zetsu's fighting fails and when we attack a village, I'll just force her to talk. When she tells me, I can get Zetsu to inform you where it is so that you can go reclaim what's yours and join in to support us for the destruction of the League." "I agree with Naruto friend," Kabuto said as he joined in the conversation. "Fine, we'll go with your plan, but that's if Zetsu fails to get any information. In the meantime, rest up." "Fine by me," Naruto friend said, while making his exit from the conversation. He kept walking down the hall till he was out of their sight. "Naruto friend," he heard a voice, which was coming further within the hall. Itachi?" he asked since he couldn't quite see him. Itachi came out of the darkness of the hall to where his little brother could see him. "I'm just going to tell you this. When we attack the League, I will do my best to protect you, even though it's too late for me. But due to Kabuto, I was given a second chance. Since you got my powers in you and yet due to the resurrection, I still have my power in me." "Itachi, what is it? Is it true?" "Is what true?" "That Elite sent you out to kill our clan?" Naruto friend asked. Itachi's eyes softened, giving his little brother a sad expression. "Yes." Hearing Itachi's answer, and now that Naruto friend knows the truth, his anger began to tighten up. His arms were shaking as he gritted his teeth. Itachi walked closer to his brother and wrapped his arms around his little brother's waist. Naruto friend hugged his long-missed brother as tears started to form in his eyes. "Don't worry, brother. We'll take revenge on the Leaf together. For our clan. And more importantly, for Mom and Dad."